Hello, welcome back to our trading boat series. Today, in this lesson, we are going to create our project structure according to the plan that we agreed at the previous lesson, and we will try to start coding with one of the most important things, the config.py file. Config.py file, it's our foundation of the system configuration management module. So without further ado, let's move on. As you can see here, I have already prepared a new project creation screen at my IDE, which is PyCharm. So as I have already trading boat module, let me name it trading boat demo. We are selecting project virtual environment and creating it. We want it in new window, and now once it's created, I believe I can close this one so it won't consume much of resources, and we will go, you remember the structure that we developed together, so we will just quickly go one by one and create what is important. First of all goes main py file and Marcus auto file. Why I'm doing right now, because I want this to be 100% all together. I could create a project structure on my own with empty files and just dive into the coding itself, but just to be sure that we are doing this 100% from scratch all together, we will do that right now. Then we have our Windows module, start Marcus. Marcus is the name that I given to the boat. So that file, we will do this the latest once it's done. Structure and structure presentable, these are files that I created just to show you the tree, so you don't need to create them actually. Test swap, of course, our initial test artifact that we're going to do. Let's not forget, I am initially QA above everything. And now the folders. First folder, we want it to be config.py. Config. Here we'll go Marcus JSON and Marcus config JSON. File JSON and another file Marcus JSON. We will go them one file or multiple files at a time, but today, as I announced, we are going to work only on config.py. So we're done with config folder. Next is our data folder. This is the input place for our boat to get the data from. So, data folder. We are not putting here CSV file yet with the results, and the trades JSON file will be generated once the Marcus will be running, so we do not need to create these two files here. Next will be our logs folder. Again, content of it will be generated as frequent each time when our boat is doing some action, even with starting. And then the heart of heart, this one, make sure to create Python package to have the init.py file in it by default, so it will be our Marcus folder. And here come our files. Candidate.py, config.py, our today's coding area, CSV parser, UI, data cleaner, one of the attributes that we will need, filters UI, basically naming says it all. Oh, filters py went outside of the marker, so let's move it back where it belongs. Then is auth helper. This is our authentication module. Helper. Next is position manager. Then will be reporter, which will make sure that our logs file have content which is reported by bot itself. Then comes Schwab client. This is also the one of the crucial files, and trade manager py. Trade manager py. And of course, let's add also tests folder. Whoever likes testing, they are welcome to create it. Whoever don't, feel free to skip it. We have very generic test shrub that we will create together. Other test coverage you can do on your own, whatever and however you like. Once again, to check, just to double check and make sure that structure matches what we needed. Main Marcus, start Marcus, and test shrub at the root level. Config folder with 2 files. Data folder, which files will be generated later. Logs, same way, logs will be generated. And Marcus folder with candidate, config, CSV parser, data cleaner, filters, auth helper, position manager, reporter, Schwab client, trade manager, and init.py. Great, we are done with creating a project structure. Now let's close all these windows, which are for now not necessary. I'll just keep config.py file, and we'll move on with it. A couple of words why we're starting with it. Our trading bot needs to manage several types of data: trading parameters, position size, etc., API credentials, sensitive data, which will be changed during OAuth procedure, filter settings, the stock that we are willing to trade, system settings, file paths, logging levels, etc. We can of course hard code these values, but that's nightmare for maintenance. Instead, we are building a proper configuration system in a dedicated module which will be handling all of that. So we don't need to overcomplicate our different parts of scripts with different parameters and variables that are used to, but instead we have specific file to handle all of that. Okay, let's start with some commentary code which will help us understand what we have built. Trading bot configuration module handles simple configuration management. So, first of all, Python file of the code, we start with imports from data classes. Import data class is dictionary. Next, we will need to import JSON because we are going to work on with JSON outputs, and from pathlib import path. Python data classes, those will give us a clean way to define our configuration structure with default values and automatic initialization. The asdict function converts our data classes to a dictionary for JSON saving. Next, we are going to define our data class. Data class. Class Marcus config. Let's add a little comment in here. Bot trading configuration updated with absolute volume filters. Okay. Now we are going to define different basic filters, but this class decorator will generate automatically init, wrapper, and other methods. It's much cleaner than writing a traditional class. Let's reformat it for cleanness, and let's go. We want to define, first of all, the pricing strategy. So minimum price, maximum price. Now what will be those values? A hint, it can be anything. It depends on your assigned budget for it. For me, assigned budget for one trade is not more than $100, which means that I am planning to buy multiple shares, not one share of a stock. So my understanding is like 4 shares will be good starting position. So $100, and I want at least 4 shares, so which means that maximum price that I'm going to work on will be $25. So we're announcing it, float equals to $25. Minimum price will be, again, float. I want to avoid penny stocks because those are not reliable, so my filter will be $1. So for me to operate, price of the stock needs to be at least $1. Minimum average volume, that would be integer equal to. Now pay attention to this because we want to trade on some stocks that have demand, so it has some volume going on in trades every day. So average trading volume, I am deciding that it should be 10,000. Again, this is all my approaches, so you are free to tune these settings whenever on whatever is convenient for you. Later on, when the CSV parser part will be announced, you will understand why we're defining all of this. So minimum absolute volume. I can foresee the questions that why you need two volumes. This one we are doing for today, current trading day volume. So for this, I'm interested in stocks that have made not less than 5,000. The volume of the trades is not less than 5,000 stocks. And minimum dollar volume. This is amount of trade, so per day. Let's have this one also as float. This is the amount shared multiplied by price. So this should be at least not 1,000 but 5,000. 5,000 stocks by $1. Okay, we are done with the very basic filters. Next are trading bases. Let's add comment here, and also here. These are basic filters. These are trade level filters. So, what will be my filter? As I mentioned, I have a minimum trade size $100. So, position size, it will be float and equal to 100. Next, my planned budget for this whole operation was $300, and it is still $300. So let's add total budget, which is what, and equal to $300. If you want, if it will make you comfortable, you can add here comments just with every parameter, just to explain it. Minimum price of stock, maximum price of stock to trade, minimum volume, average volume of trades for given stock. Today's trade volume and dollar amount of trade volume. Okay, so this is one trade size, dollars, and our total trading budget. This, I think, will be helpful for you to have this kind of hints. Next, what another thing is helpful? To understand if a deal is a good one or a bad one, best thing is to evaluate it. Give it a score, like credit score in United States for for people who want to apply for some kind of credit or a loan or lend money from some institution. So here will go our scoring filters. The score is consists of total 100%, obviously, and my decision was to divide them into few, to be more precise, 4 key components. That would be volume weight, and it will be float equal to 0.4. So for me, 40% of the score depends on trading volume. Next is gap weight. That would be another float equal to 0.3. Gap is considered the difference between expected and actual premiums. Next will be price weight. So we won't consider it an absolute key, but we will give it 20% of the score. So score component responsible for stock price. So whether it is 1, this component has 1 value, and whether it is 25, it has another value. So basically we are assigning different grades of it. And last but not least, it's put call weight. That would be also float equal to 0.1. Put call weight, at one of the YouTube videos that I created, I have a special indicator for put call ratio and how it is helping investors to make decisions. So here I am assigning 10% of overall trade score to this value. Ratio of put orders to call orders. Smaller is better. Okay, we have this one too, and next goes our credentials. So Schwab credentials. Here we'll go Schwab client ID. It will be string equal to I'm sorry, but I cannot provide you mine. So this one you will have when you create your application within Schwab. Next is Schwab client secret. Again, sorry, but this one will not be provided to you. Then goes Schwab callback URL, which is also string, but this one I will provide you. It will be https or HTTP, depends what, but HTTPS is better, of course. 127.0.0. Schwab access token. It is string and it will be empty. To make a difference, let's have this written xxx, this one y. But this one we are leaving empty. Why? Because this will be filled after OAuth procedure. So our code will get the token from the response of the Schwab authentication system and then save it in this value, in this variable. Next goes Schwab refresh token, which is again string and again it will be fulfilled, and Schwab token expires. Again string and here too. Okay, we are done with our parameters. Now we are going to create a couple of very simple methods. First of all, we are creating our save method. Save self file name as string. This will be, let's add one line comment, saves config to file. Path, file name, parent, make directory, parent true, exist okay, true. This creates a dictionary if it doesn't exist. Next, with open file name as f, JSON dump as dictionary self. What it does, then this, when file is created, it converts our data class to a dictionary with this and save it as nicely formatted JSON string with intent equals to 2. This means that we can call config save from config markus JSON and it will create the config directory and save our settings automatically. Okay. We'll see why it is failing for now. Okay. Okay, this method is created. Oh, they have here double, so and our load method, which is basically a class method. So here it goes, class method. Loads. You can see here the IDE suggests everything that is already created in other project. So what it does, it loads config. Try with open file name. Now this is reading. This one was writing into the file, and this one is reading from the file. It's F data equals JSON load F, and here it will return class as data. And here, except file not found error, return CLS. It will use defaults. So this loads. The load method is a class method. It creates a new instance of our config, of this config. It tries to load data from JSON file, and if the file doesn't exist, it returns config with default values. This means that first time we run it, it will work with sensible defaults. Okay, now we have our config file, and this concludes this lesson. What we did today, we created projects from scratch, and for config.py file in Marcus folder, which is the foundation, basically what we are doing, we added code into it. We imported data classes, JSON and pathlib for saving into file and reading from the file. Then we created our data class named Marcus config, provided different parameters and filters for different operations. All of this, again, these are just ones that work for me. You can start with those, and by the time when you are getting more familiar and more involved with the trading boat day-to-day operations, you can fine-tune them as per your needs. This is minimum price of the stock, maximum price of the stock, criteria to consider to enter into a trade. All of this will be checked from the CSV file with data. Position size, this we are keeping here to make the maximum amount of what one trade should be sized on. Next comes total budget. This we are saving for both to understand how much money we invested in it and what is our basically budget for the operation. Next goes the stock scoring criteria, which helps us identify which one is a good deal, which one is not. Then goes swap credentials. Pay attention, these values here cannot be your client ID and secret ID because they are not safe. This is your local callback URL. And the last three parameters will be updated once the client, once our bot is connected to Schwab and received the access token, refresh token, and the time when token is expired. Also, we created two methods, save and load. Save, which will save all these parameters into a file, into a JSON formatted file with some nice indentation, and the one that should load this from the file and try to open it and get everything from that JSON file. And if file does not exist, use defaults. This was the scope of today's lesson. Thank you for participating in it, and the next time we will talk on how this config.py is integrated with other components of our system. Thank you very much. We will meet you at the next video. Bye bye.